quiet seaside town, an evil lain to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome. Here's the thing I'm thinking about. It's Tabletop Gold. Here's the thing I'm thinking about is like, should I try out alienating hellos? Should I try like a little bit of like a hello?
Oh.
Just here on the show or in general?
In life?
In life.
Are you Seinfeld? What is this?
Okay.
What's the deal with your weird hello?
What's the deal? Okay. Well, tune in next week to see if I do an alienating hello. But I'm Lars Casteen. Welcome to the show. I'm joined tonight, as always, by Zoe Chernicoff.
Good that time.
Robin Lange.
Good this time, that time, and all times.
Ooh. David the Tin Man Chernicoff. And our Matt Humphreys.
Good that time.
Good that time.
I was hoping for some sort of Kramer reference there.
Okay, wait a minute. So if Armat is our Kramer,
Because there's 5 of us.
That's the
Four in the
problem.
show.
We're more of a Will and Grace. No, there are only 4 of
yeah,
them.
that's
too.
tough.
Who's a 5? What's a good 5-person? Oh, Friends.
No,
That's a 6-person.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to think about this for next
I guess
week. We have to-
Boundary
we
could
have
be
to
our
actually-
6th, since it's always open in the little window.
That's such a like 80s sitcom like premise. It's like 5 friends and they're like charming computer. They're
That one's-
wisecracking,
Who
sarcastic.
we'll call
computer
Ross.
program.
That one's
Totally.
Joey. I know, I was going to say more Joey.
Oh, interesting. Is Foundry our Joey or our Ross?
At the risk of stating the obvious, there is Party of 5.
Oh, that's true.
Never
Not really a
watched it.
sitcom.
Never heard of it.
Actually, never seen
you
it.
never
No,
heard
I'm
of-
joking.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, Matthew Fox, and the rest. Nev Campbell
Scott-
and the rest.
Scott Foley?
Scott, I think that was a senator from Arizona. Scott Foley, was that his
Scott
name?
Wolf,
No,
it
that's
looks
Mark.
like.
I love Scott Foley.
Scott Wolf
Scott
is
Wolf.
the
Scott
man's
I love
name.
both Scott Wolf and Scott Foley.
Okay. Robin, you sent a text earlier today saying that something exciting happened to you at your job. Tell me what happened.
So through a type of one of those kinds of friends of a friend thing, I cannot get into further details beyond that. But my school where I work was privileged to have Yo-Yo Ma perform today.
Stop it.
Yo-Yo Ma, world famous cellist and also the only cellist I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
And as I phrased it to my
cellist?
students this morning, the way to try and get it on their level of 12-year-old brains, one kid knew who Yo-Yo Ma was.
This is the Mr. Beast of cello players.
I said it's the Taylor Swift of classical music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's good.
And they all kind of got it. Like, people make a big deal out of seeing Yo-Yo Ma the same way y'all make a big deal out of seeing Taylor Swift. They're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's probably a super apt comparison. But I bet that really helped him out. That's good.
This is the type of thing that, like, when you're 20 years old, you're going to look, or 20 years from now, you're going to say, oh, when I was in 6th grade, I saw this person.
Yeah.
He is. So the thing that struck me is I was thinking about it later. And you always hear people talk about, the art is so much like seeing a piece of art in a book or on a computer screen is nothing compared to actually seeing that piece of art in person.
Yeah.
And that's
gatekeepers.
always made sense to me. Gatekeepers. As someone who enjoys museums, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. My mother's an artist, so sure. I never really thought about it with musicians. Like, I like going to a concert, not just for the musician, but because there's the energy in the concert, right?
Sure.
But something like classical music, when you're just quietly sitting and it's not about the energy of the people around you, I didn't quite think of it that way. So he performed for my half of the school. They split into two halves that everyone was able to see in the church that our school is attached to.
Right.
And listening to him play, Bach's G major piece, the like really famous one for cellos, in that space where it feels like it's enveloping you in a hug,
Yeah.
was such an incredibly moving moment for me.
That's great.
I wish I
awesome.
brought tissues with me, because I honestly cried multiple times during the 45 minutes we had with him. He's also, so he did a whole conversation as well with our head of school, and because they and he's such a lovely, warm person as well. Well-spoken, kind, like it was a big, I teach, this was for the lower half of the school, so a lot of the conversation was on kindness and being good friends to people and sharing, and how being a friend is also sometimes sharing in sadness.
Wow.
And it was, yeah.
I haven't even thought about that before. What a good thing to say. I'm going to think about what Yo-Yo Ma said to you at your school for a while now. That's amazing. What a nice thing to say.
Yeah. It was, I've tried to just write it down to kind of remember my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it just kind of came out of nowhere, and I just found out yesterday, and ever since then I've just been like, oh my God, I'm going to see Yo-Yo Ma in person. I've never thought I would do it. Like up close, like 20 feet away from him.
Robin, do you think Yo-Yo Ma's also being a wise person, apparently, is like the causality of him being a musical genius and him being a wise person could kind of run in either direction. It's like he could be wise because he's like mastered this thing. He could have the ability to master this thing because he has that sort of temperament. They could have nothing to do with each other. Did you get a sense of what was the relationship between the person and the craft, like the musicianship and the perspective? Do you get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. So having learned a bit more about him in the last 24 hours, and knowing that I was going to be able to experience him so closely, he was a child prodigy, the child of two musicians. And so he's been performing cello since he was about 6 or 7.
Uh-huh.
This has been his entire life. And I think being in this career path that is very demanding's not the word I'm looking for, but you have to be very what's the word? Like
it's like exacting or disciplined.
Disciplined. There's
precise.
the word. Yes, it's not just that he's like a creative, it's that he's disciplined in a way that classical music requires. And I think in spending so much time in that discipline and also getting to meet so many amazing people, like he seems like, I think as a musician, he cares a lot about listening, whether that's to music or what people say. And it felt like a lot of what he was sharing weren't just his own musings, but things he had learned through experiences with other people.
Right.
Like it's wild, the number of people around the world. He's kind of like the Dalai Lama in some way. Like everyone wants to meet him. And, I looked him up. I looked up something on Spotify, and one of the top songs was a Miley Cyrus song that he played cello on.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Like he's known everyone, it seems.
Yeah, he must have spoken to all of the smartest people in the world, and also probably a ton of the dumbest people in the world, right? Like he's probably
absolutely.
And he listened
sampled
so
many of the
carefully to
fruits
all
that-
of them.
Yeah, he understands the depths and the heights, probably.
It's also fascinating to me. I mean, like, he is incredible. Would love to see him. I don't think very many folks go into classical music to get anywhere near that kind of famous, right? Like you want to be recognized, you want to make a career out of it. Unlike, say, being a pop star, where I think most people who get into it are doing it to be famous and adored. And so it's like interesting to think about having, it's not the same famous as Taylor Swift or Beyonce, but like that level of adoration in a career where like you're doing it you're much more likely to be doing it for the art, but then that becomes part of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think there are very few classical musicians in this world. I'm not a big classical music person, so like total plebe here, but like who are as famous as Yo-Yo Ma, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
His
I
face,
think far and away the most famous.
his face was one of the best parts, honestly, because his well, as he's playing, his face entirely reflects what he's playing. So if he's playing something fun, like he's making goofy faces at the kids. If he's playing something, when he was playing in Ave Maria, his eyes were closed and he was in this deep concentration as he, supported his cello in an entirely different way than when he was playing something more upbeat.
That's cool.
It was very cool. I'm really glad it
I wanna
happened.
do-
And thank you for letting me
Yeah.
share this with you guys.
Yeah,
it was
of
really
course.
cool. I hope
Awesome.
you all get to
Of course.
see someone like that at some point.
That's awesome. Robin, I'm so glad that you got to do that. That's nice. Like, that's just good.
I need some, things happen, and I needed something nice to happen recently, so that was really good.
Agreed.
That sounds
Nice
good.
things are nice.
Nice
You know-
things are
you know-
nice.
You know what else is nice, guys?
Oh, segues?
Reviews from our listeners.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
reviews. I just want to say, thank you to everybody who leaves reviews for us. It's a very kind thing to do. And we've learned so much about kindness today. So thank you for doing that. This review came in and it says, Lars might be the only person I've heard of that doesn't like fungus as much as me. So we're getting in touch with some cool people who
Gonna
know.
say some wrong
People are listening
Smart
to us just like Yo-Yo Ma listens to everyone.
Yeah.
That's right. When I talk about mushrooms, I make disgusted faces that indicate to you how grossed out I am about the
You
idea
really
of
kind of do.
mushrooms. I do.
Yep.
out.
I come by it honestly.
It's very helpful. Lets us know where
Yeah.
you stand.
So thank you so much to Veritier on Apple Podcasts for that review. Thank you so much. It helps us out, and I totally appreciate you doing that. And with that, let's get into it. Let's play our game. Your exploration of a large, water-filled subterranean cavern has brought you some perplexing information about the residents of the dungeon's 8th level. You've entered a ritual chamber populated by a half-dozen gaunt, pale-skinned, light-blinded humanoid creatures meditating in front of some slowly smoking chul eggs. They've started attacking as soon as you interrupted their ritual, but now seem more than happy to die or to kill in order to gain favor with something. A deity, a priest, something else, known as Earthagol. So we are picking up mid-fight. Here is the situation. You're in this tight room surrounded by these cultists. You've just realized that when they die, which they are happy to do, it turns out, they explode in a burst of light, which hits you and also hits all of them. So this is kind of like a weird situation in this fight, because like typically with lots of weaker enemies like these, you'd probably want to throw something out that hits a lot of them, like a fireball or something that explodes. But there's a risk here that if you kill too many of them at once, they might set off a chain reaction and then take you down before you have time to heal. So it's a tricky situation here. The main thing here is that you have just learned that these creatures, whatever they are, seem to welcome any violent outcome in this fight due to whatever their connection is to this Earthagol. We're picking up in the middle of Isthan's turn. Isthan just threw out a massive spell strike using needle darts, and you got one action left. What are you going to do?
Yeah, he's going to drop into his Arcane Cascade stance and use the piercing damage of
All
needle
right.
darts as his extra damage for it. And
So
that's his turn.
Isthan drops into a magical stance, and Ao had delayed. Ao is in the northwestern corner of this room. the four of you are kind of lined up against the western wall. Ao's in the northwestern corner and is invisible and has been invisible since entering the room. Everybody has been delaying. I don't know if Ao is even going to do something. Zoe, tell me, what is Ao? What's happening with Ao?
I'm just gonna sit here invisible. Watch everyone get exploded. No, okay. Well, so Lars, I am invisible. My understanding is I stop being invisible if I do something hostile,
Correct.
and that you get to tell me what's hostile or not.
Yeah, but I'm not going to surprise you with it. You can tell me and I'll tell you what I think before it happens.
Okay, that's what I was. That was the world I was just gonna explore. Of do I make a choice and then you decide, or do we get to discuss it?
Yeah, I think we get to discuss it. I'm not trying to play gotcha with
in this particular moment, unlike most times we play this game.
Hostile or not is a good spin-off show concept. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's think about it. Write it on the notebook.
About this egg pit where they're baking these eggs or whatever it is that they're actually doing, but we think they're baking the eggs.
It's a cauldron that is smoking the eggs. So one might imagine that there's a low level of heat. This is just a bed of coals underneath a cauldron, and these eggs are in the cauldron.
Okay. But we don't really know what's up except we think it's a delicacy.
Yeah, but you think it's a delicacy in Galt. So I think as soon as you realize that these weirdos who live hundreds of feet underground are smoking these eggs, maybe you have the context to understand that that's not directly relevant. Maybe connected in some way, but this isn't exactly the delicacy that you have heard of.
Okay. If I tumble past this fellow who's in front of me, is that going to be hostile?
No.
Great. I'm going to try and get past him to go to the... I'm in the northwest corner, and I'd like to go to the northeast corner. So I believe I have to do an acrobatics check here.
Yeah, it's going to be an acrobatics check versus his reflex DC. He's frightened, so the reflex DC is a little bit lower thanks to Trill's Dirge of Doom.
I'm the best in our party at tumbling through. Guys, I don't tumble through ever.
I wonder if we're tied, because I'm also supposedly the best.
There we go.
We're not as dexy as we once were.
Was a 29, which appears to be a success.
That's a success. You're able to invisibly slip past this cultist.
That counts as difficult terrain, right? So that counted
That's
as
right.
10 feet. So then I
That's
think
correct.
I can get all the way to the corner, which would have been 20, but now counts as 25.
Great.
The next thing Ao is going to do, assuming it is not hostile, is that having watched this explosion situation and not yet wanting to reveal herself, she is going to try and keep these fools who are kind of all clustered back by this oven from advancing, and she wants to cast Phantom Crowd, which is a new spell.
Yeah.
Can she cast it where the dead guy's body is?
For sure. You want a 10-foot square, so you kind of want like a 10-foot by 10-foot deal. Do you want me to draw something on the map and you tell me if it's the right place?
Yeah.
So like this is a 10-foot by 10-foot square. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
That feels right.
Okay.
Which would allow Mag to sort of go around. Okay, so she's going to cast Phantom Crowd, which is going to create a tightly packed crowd of humanoids appropriate to the area. So maybe they actually kind of look like these guys.
Yeah.
Because we don't know enough. It's not like we've met Morlocks or anyone else on this floor to have any other sense of who's here.
It's either these guys or giant crabs.
That's
it could be those little mummies too.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, interesting.
Don't forget about the little mummies.
Maybe it's the little mummies. I don't think she would, because I think she would have sense enough to know that these guys wouldn't expect a bunch of them to appear. So maybe it's the little mummies.
Itty bitty mummy.
They will also agree loudly with anything I say, which, Lars, I'm curious how that works while being invisible. To get them to say things, do I have to reveal myself, or can I be like whispering quietly enough that I'm undetected?
So you're not going to be undetected the moment you cast a spell, because casting a spell requires making noise. So you're still going to be invisible. I'm going to say this is not a hostile action. You're going to be invisible. You're going to be hidden, but they're going to know somebody is around where you were at the time that you cast this spell.
Great. I love this. Okay. So that is my second and third action. We've got a little crowd, and the mummies right now are just kind of looking around, a combination of excited and confused.
Yeah, so the cultist up here in the northern part of the room squints at this collection of bog mummies and whispers the following. To alert the rest of them, he says, "The children of Belcora, they are here."
Ooh.
In undercover.
Oh.
How does that sound?
So, it sounds like this. Nyang, nyang, bonabo.
Uh-huh.
And with that, that's it for Ao's turn. And we are now on to the turns of a number of these combatants. So they're confused. They just see a crowd of mummies here in the middle of the room. They know that a spell has just been cast. The first one to go is going to be the one that is in the southeastern corner of the room. And they're not terribly concerned about either one of those things. So they're going to run up towards Mag, sprinting forward, shouting out, "This will gain Earthagal's attention!" And this
Now,
creature...
My
Yeah, go ahead.
understanding is that running toward Mag would trigger a reactive strike.
So a reactive strike is if they use a move action in your reach or if they move out of a square that you can reach. So I don't think they've done either
They
of those
haven't
two.
moved in my reach?
So they stopped right here.
They would have to move
Right.
from there.
If they moved there,
Uh,
then they would get the reactive
moving
strike.
into my reach doesn't count. Moving through my zone of reach does.
Right, which is why, like, if you have a weapon with reach, it's sort of a lot with reactive strike, because if you can reach them here, and then they have to run
In
here
order
to
to
hit
get-
you,
Wow.
then you get them.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so they are going to attempt to trip you.
Oh.
So they reach out an outstretched hand. They drop one of their short swords and reach out a hand to attempt to trip Mag. I missed the flat check on the trip. So they are going to attempt to stab you, having failed to trip you. They get a 20 on the flat check.
Yeah.
So they hit you. They target you correctly, but their attack roll is a 20.
20 total or 20 on the die?
20 total.
20 total is not going to do it.
Okay. So, bad turn for that creature. They're now dazzled instead of blinded. This first round where they're blinded is going to be rough for me. So, the next one is going to be the one that's standing right next to AO. They're blind. You're invisible. They don't even know you're invisible because they're blind. Okay, so they try to trip you. It's a 24 to trip, and on the flat check, it's a 8. So they miss you in probably a few different ways.
Makes sense. I'm pretty invisible.
Okay, and then they're going to attempt to slice at you twice, and they shout out, "For Earthagal!" as they do a double slice. First attack, the flat check is a 17. I don't know why I'm waiting for you. The answer is that hits. It's a 15. And their attack roll is a 24.
That misses.
And their second slice, flat check is a 13, so they pass that, but their attack roll is an 8.
A lot of slashing, not much hitting.
Yeah, let's move on to the next of these creatures. They are blinded. They don't see anything. They are aware that there's a crowd of these bog mummies standing next to them. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to reach out to touch these bog mummies to try to get a sense of if they are real or not. And here we go. This is not going to work. That is a 23 versus your spellcasting DC.
It is a 24, so whew.
Okay, so they believe there's a crowd there. So what they're going to do is
Fall to their knees and
move.
worship.
They're going to fall to their knees and worship. They have a movement speed of, these guys are so hampered right now. this is not good. Like, this is so bad. So they say, the children of Belcor! Why would she send them here to torment us? And they're going to move 20 feet to a position slightly behind, 20 feet because they're blinded and everything is difficult terrain, to another part of the room to try to get around these mummies. And then they're going to move towards Mag with a third move action.
Well, blip, blip, blue.
Isn't that an attack of
it's gotta be,
opportunity?
right?
Blip, blip, blue indeed, David. Okay. It is an attack of opportunity.
And a reactive strike for Istin as well, I think.
Oh, you guys are such goofballs.
Well, would you like to go first, or shall I guess you go first? On
No. I think Mag gets priority.
No.
This
Please.
is so
I might not even
stupid.
need to use it after Mag hits
I
him.
guess. All right. So, I want to be impolite. What's that? 37 to
Case
hit?
of-
Does that hit?
That's a critical hit by a number that is more than I want to tell you.
Does 58 damage do the trick?
58 damage is significant. It does not quite do the trick. But what happens with your crushing rune or your critical specialization?
Sure. The crit specialization is that it is knocked prone unless
Okay.
it passes a fortitude save, a DC 24 fort save.
Oh yeah, I have to pass. That's new in the remaster. Bow chicka wow wow.
I'm glad you said that because I did not recognize the fort save part. It seems
I
incredibly
passed
reasonable.
the fort save,
Whoa.
y'all. I rolled a 26.
Wow. Okay.
Unexpected.
Well, in
Good
any event, the
job.
crushing
I'm not
rune
proud.
has you clumsy one and enfeebled one until the end of your next turn.
Okay.
A lot of little insignias around that guy, though, huh?
Yeah, you're really giving him the business. So he shouts out like, "Take my light!" And then he realizes he's not dead. He's like, and puts his hands back down.
Eventually.
And then Istin uses a reactive strike on him.
And I forgot that was gonna
Yeah, oh
happen.
yes, definitely.
Okay, Armat, do your dirty business.
32 to hit?
Yeah, that's a critical hit.
I like these guys.
Am I yet again going to be out of this guy's blast? This is
I think you-
exciting.
I think you are. So, Istin, what's your damage roll?
That would be 42.
Okay.
Combination of bludgeoning and piercing.
That's higher than the 2 hit points that he had left. So that's going to be enough to knock him all the way down. And he says like, "Earthgirl, take my light." And then nothing happens. And then he gets slammed in the face by this staff. And then he goes poof, and explodes all over the room. So that's a 20-foot emanation. Ao is out of the range of that. Ao is in a completely different spot. But
Does Trill have cover at least or something?
Trill has lesser cover, which doesn't help reflex saves. There is 16 points of fire damage coming your way. And everyone who is targeted, please make a reflex save. Okay. 2 of these cultists managed to dodge entirely out of the way. 2 20s on the die for 2 of them, which is sort of wild. One of them manages to pass the reflex save and takes half damage. Let's talk about our players here. Armat, yes, what's up?
My
Robin?
issue is my die did not roll a 1, but it registered as a 1.
I don't know what to tell you, Robin. I'm just looking at the thing. I wasn't. It's. Nobody is. I'm not cheating.
It's just weird because the last
it
time
is
I rolled a
weird. It's
reflex
weird.
save, it was a 1. It was a 1. It just felt like there was a glitch or something.
Maybe it's your destiny, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like something a cheater would say, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, that was not the number that I rolled, and I'm just really frustrated by that, by the system, I guess, by whatever it did.
Because I'm a nice guy, I'll let you re-roll it for free, and we can investigate the number and take another.
It was
look
just, I was very sorry. I wouldn't have been cranky about it if it hadn't been a 1 last time as well on my best save, and it just like seemed very strange.
The idea of you're looking at a die and it doesn't match what comes in the thing, I think that's reasonable. If you're looking at it and it's not the right thing, go ahead and re-roll it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thank you. If it's a 1 this time, then I'll be fine.
If it's a 1 this time, we gotta talk.
Then it's destiny.
Yeah, then it may be.
We're doing triple dipple if you get a 1
Okay,
on
let's
this
see what happens
situation.
this time. Okay, that is. I got a 5, so still low. But
Did it tell you it was a 5? Did the
it
system agree?
was a 5 on the die, and it was a
Okay.
5 in the system, which means I got a 20. So that feels. I'm
Okay.
still taking damage, but she's not going to die.
We've reached an accord between the system and the graphics. Armet, how did Istin do on this?
Istin also got a 20.
Success. And how did Mag do?
It's a 21 for Mag.
Also a success, so all of you take half damage. Ayo, how are you feeling not being in the blast of that light? How does that treat you?
I think she wants to make sure the mummies are okay.
Yet the mummy's seemingly not affected by this light, which is interesting.
I blame that on Belcora.
Me too. Okay, so it is now the turn of another of these creatures. They are again blinded and stuck behind a wall of mummies. Do I waste the action to reach out and see if the mummies are fake? I think I have to. I think that's what they would do.
Yeah.
So they're going to reach out their hand and try to touch these mummies. I'm trying to beat it seems like your spellcasting modifier is a 24, so I'm trying to beat that with a perception check. I roll a 10.
That is too low. It doesn't succeed.
They believe the mummies are real. If they could see, they would maybe try to push through the mummies like it's difficult terrain. They can't, so they won't. Instead, they will try to head towards where they heard that sound coming from. That's going to be 2 move actions to get next to Ao. So Ao is now in the corner of the room, surrounded by 2 of these creatures. And that's it for their turn. They are now dazzled. All of these guys are now dazzled, no longer blinded, as they slowly adjust to the bright light that you are shining on them. And with that, we are now at the beginning of round 2, everybody.
been a
Here's the
journey.
situation. What a crazy turn that was. 2 of these strange cultists have exploded. Trill, Istin, and Mag have their backs pinned against the western wall of this small ritual chamber. Ao is still invisible and is pinned in by 2 confused-looking cultists. Gaunt, pale-skinned, bright-white eyes. It is the beginning of round 2, and one of these cultists is going to go first. They can see that Trill is right in front of them, so they are going to reach out and attempt to trip her. So here comes a trip attempt versus Trill.
Trip is not an attack, right?
Trip is an attack.
Oh, trip is an attack.
That is a 9. This is ridiculous.
You're not doing great on the tripping. I want to give you some feedback, Lars, and it's that the tripping thing so far has not been a big success.
You don't like it? You don't think it's
I
good?
like it a lot, but I don't know that for you it's been a great strategy.
Well, okay. For what it's worth, the strategy, I think the strategy is fine. The issue is that I just rolled a 9. And what is your reflex DC, Robin?
25.
Great. So I lose my balance and I fall prone. So, just like we drew it up.
Well, if I'd gotten the words out of my mouth a little faster, I was going to finally try my empathetic plea.
Yeah,
I figure it's better
need.
to wait for an attack that's really going to hurt.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Oh, and I needed to make a flat check. Forget about it. Okay. So they are going to stand up. Great. And then they're gonna try to stab you, I guess.
Wait, isn't that already 3 actions? Or is the
I don't think so.
Or was the check for the was the check not an action? The check for the
They tried to Yeah, that's not an action. They tried to trip you, they
Okay.
fell over, they stood up, they're trying to stab you. So
But why was
they
the checking the mummies not an action?
that was a different guy.
Didn't this guy check the mummies?
This guy did not check the
Oh no,
mummies.
he did not check the mummies. He just came straight for Trill.
But I wanted him to
different
check the mummies.
Does
So
any
you
of
get
this
a -1
trigger a
penalty for
reactive
not
strike?
doing the thing I wanted.
But he didn't need to mess with the mummies because Trill was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what
She's
I don't
already
know if you're
hurting.
following. It's not what I wanted.
Right. But Zoe, do you see how bad a time I'm having?
I do.
Do you
so
see
in
it?
that sense, it's all going okay. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
right. We can go forward. We can go forward. I
You're
get it.
responsible for like 80. Okay, after that whole double reactive strike thing, you're responsible for about 65% of why I'm
I'll
unhappy
stop
right now.
complaining about Foundry rolls now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right. Robin, it was all Robin was the remaining 35%. It's a weird thing. I actually liked getting reactive struck because that's just what I'm into. Okay. So this creature is trying to attack Trill. It's a 7 on the flat check and a 14 to hit.
That would be a critical miss.
All right. So it is now Trill's turn. Trill has just seen this creature stumble and get back up and fail to do anything to her. What is she going to do?
Trill's going to recall knowledge first, actually, because we haven't done a recall knowledge on these guys, have we?
You sure have not.
So Trill's going to, she is not dazzled. She can see just fine. So she's going to look at these guys and try and figure out kind of what their deal is. Like, they've talked about Earthagol. Does she recognize Earthagol? Does she recognize anything about these cultists?
So there's going to be two separate checks. If you want to know what kinds of creatures they are, that's going to be one thing. If you want to know something about Earthagol, that's going to be something else.
Okay, let's go with creatures first.
Sure. Give me a society check blind, please.
Oh, no.
To figure out what kind of underground society of humanoids this is.
Trying to decide if I can argue my way around this one. Because my
You can.
society is not good.
Sure.
What about...
give me an occultism. Give me an occultism.
Why are you
throw
don't
this.
just give in on that?
because the rules as written say that there could be other knowledge skills that would be helpful with higher DCs. So I think that there is something to be said for occultism here.
I mean, it is.
You're going to get different
cult.
information though. It is a cult, in fact.
And this is blind?
Yeah, it's blind and ask me a question.
Okay. So the question is, what are they? Does Trill know a way to make them not explode?
Okay. So with that occultism check, I'll just tell you, you passed the very hard DC that I set for you. This is a creature, and all of these are creatures known as Calignes. They are subterranean city dwellers that live deep, 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 deep underground. You've heard about them in part because of the strange hierarchical, purpose-driven societies that they form around themselves, which may be governed in some way by occult magic, the nature of which you don't totally understand. Is there a way to keep them from exploding? Great question. No.
I think for Trill's second action, she's going to move into the hall.
Okay.
So that she's not in that line anymore because she got pretty beat up from all those things exploding. And I'm going to do one more check then, if that's okay.
Sure.
Looking for either ideally weakness, and if I can get 2 for my roll, weakness and any immunities. Although not that it seems that hard to... Wait, no, it doesn't seem that hard to kill them. We're doing pretty well. Let's say instead, I want to know about Earthagol.
Okay. Give me an occultism check. You've never heard of anything called Earthagol. But it seems as though, based on the way they are talking about whatever this Earthagol is, that it is some kind of divine figure or a figure believed to be divine by them that they have been separated from. You get the sense that they're trying to call to be reunited with something that they have lost.
Okay. And that's Trill's turn.
All right.
Not as helpful as I would have hoped. Sorry, guys.
It is now Mag's turn.
For once, there's like a whole lot of adversaries on the battlefield and a decent amount of space. So there's like kind of more tactics and more options running through my mind than the standard encounter for this dungeon, which is like you're in a closet with a giant minotaur or whatever.
Yeah.
But I got one next to me, and when you're in melee strike range, you got a melee strike. So here comes a big old bash with a big old hammer. Never gets old. 32 to hit.
32 is a critical hit.
Ooh, that's nice.
Okie-dokie. That's 50 damage.
Okay. 50 damage, and I guess I also have other things happen to me too, right?
You sure do. So clumsy one and enfeebled one from the crushing rune. And if you will make this fort save.
21.
Not going to do it. So you are knocked prone.
Okay. This guy seems very, very badly injured as he falls to the ground and he whispers, Earthical, return to us.
I'm going to try again. That's a 21 to hit.
Just like bitch slap him at this point.
That 21 hits.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it
So
does.
Mag, the first blow is like, is a side swing like a baseball bat. And then the second one loops around and crunch down on the ground.
And that crunch causes them, as they're whispering, Earthical, return to us. They, from the ground, start shaking and light emerges from their body. And we are looking at another explosion. This is going to be a total of 22 points of fire damage coming your way.
Trill's finally not in the way.
Excellent.
One of these enemies takes 11 points of damage because they made a successful save. How did Isthin and Mag do here?
Isthin did okay. He got a 24. And
That is a success, so you'll take half of those 22 points of damage.
And it's only a 17 for Mag.
So that's a failure, so you're going to take the full 22
All right.
points.
I'm going to move north from where I am right now and just position myself in the corner of the room between Trill and the baddie that's been swiping at her.
So Isthin feels Mag push past him to get to the northern side of the room, and it is now Isthin's turn.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I stand here, with my reach, am I able to hit both of those guys?
You can, if you stand in the middle of this crowd of mummies, you have reach to reach past this pillar blocking your way and hit two of these guys, but they both will have cover from you, so they'll have a +2 to their armor class.
Okay.
And also
That's
remember the
good
mummies
to
are
know.
difficult terrain to move through.
Yeah, Isthin is just going to stride 20 feet, so that should account for the...
So 20 feet is going to land you here on the second stop of the mummy space.
I see. Okay. But I have 25 total feet, so I can go here. Yeah?
Okay.
Perfect. So he'll
So you
charge
push
forward.
past this crowd of mummies.
Yep, and charge towards where the eggs are cooking on the smoking fire, and he's just gonna, do something not too fancy and make a regular strike at this chumperoony.
I imagine him being super polite to the mummies, like, "Oh, excuse me."
Right, can I just get through? No, I can't see the eggs now. That is a 33 to hit.
That's a critical hit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think targeting their AC seems to be a profitable strategy for us. 48 damage.
Okay, 48 points of damage. And you see as you slam into this creature with a staff, they shake around and they explode in a 20-foot emanation. That is the first time Ao is going to have to make a reflex save in this entire encounter. Here's how much damage we're looking at. We're looking at a total of 17 points of damage. Everyone's going to start rolling reflex saves now, everybody. So I'm going to take some amount of damage on a lot of these guys. They some of them pass, some of them fail. as the light shines out on top of them. But how did our heroes do? Zoe, how did Ao do?
22 for Ao.
22. So that is a success. You'll take half damage. And then how did Mag do?
It's a 31 this time.
Sorry, you're taking, these are both critical successes, I believe, because you have like class features that make you extra good at reflex saves. So like Zoe, you don't take half damage. Ao got a 22, which gets rounded up to a critical success.
Oh, I love that.
Mag gets a 31, which just is a critical
That's just
success.
critical success. Okay.
And Isthan, how did Isthan do, Armat?
Just a 20.
So that is a success. So you'll take half of that 17 damage. So you'll take 8 points of damage.
Cool.
And Isthan has one more action.
Yeah.
Well, Trill
You
hides
know
in the
what?
hall.
He is gonna brave the crowd around the bar and go, excuse me, sorry, just poking through here, and move up to flank the two remaining guys with both Mag on one side to the west and Ao to the east.
I'm going to give you a hero point for that, just because it's so
I like
cool
that.
to me. That this dude blows a thing up, then politely pushes his way through a crowd of mummies, and then
Having
sets
already
up,
done it once.
having already done it once.
I just want to
6
get a
seconds
white
ago.
wine. Is that all right? No.
And then sets up a perfect tactical situation for all of his friends. It's just too
This
good.
double flank
Oh, thank you.
situation
It's
is
so
yeah,
good.
really
Take
cool.
Wow.
And it helps Ao so much if she decides to do something hostile.
I
Speaking
think
of
it's
which,
time.
it's Ao's turn. Ao is invisible and is in the corner of the room.
Time
Feels
for
like
hostilities.
the jig is up.
I think you're the only person who has taken no damage in this entire fight because you just critically succeeded on that.
Right, with
reflex
some
save.
class feat that I'm sure I took at some point, but I certainly did not remember. Ao's just going to do some good old-fashioned slashing. So she's going to pull out her bloodletting kukri, and she's just going to stab this friend who's now between her and Isthan and a little Sammy, and she's going to stab him. That's a 35.
I don't want to blow your mind here, but that's a critical hit.
Wow. And I think she's got like flat-footed a couple of different ways. So,
Yes.
pretty good damage roll, 19. But that
Okay.
doubles then. So that's 38 damage.
Okay. So 38
gonna
points.
splode.
He is gonna splode, everybody.
Time for splodies.
Get ready to splode. He shouts out, "For Erthagul!" And he explodes in great damage roll, 23 points of damage. And yeah, everybody start rolling some reflex saves for old time's sake. Let's twist again like we did last summer.
What was I not gibbering mouther? What was the gloopy, mindless thing that kept exploding when we kill it on the upper levels that I hated?
the
Grothlets.
Grothlets.
Grothlet. These are like the new
yeah.
Grothlets.
It's like piteous glow.
The one of these humanoid creatures that still is alive managed to get a critical success on their reflex save, so they take no damage. How did Ao do on her reflex save?
That's a 26, which I think is a success, which I've now learned is a critical success. So no
That's
more
right.
damage for you.
Okay, Ao's fine. And how did Mag do?
22 for Mag.
So that's half damage. And how did Isthan do?
A 24.
Also half damage. We're here at the beginning of round 3.
Sorry,
And-
I think I still have 2 more turns, I think.
Oh, fuck. Okay, good. Just kidding. It's Zoe's turn.
Actions.
I think you have one more
I
action
don't
because
know.
you drew the kukri and you stabbed.
Oh, I drew the kukri and then. I'm gonna. Well, is there any fucking point in sustaining the mummies? I don't know. I'm flavor sustaining the mummies. It's the only useful thing I can do. So
The
now
mummies.
but now she has them cheering. Now they're like, yeah, Erthagul sucks.
The combatant to the east of Mag is like, why would they say such things about Erthagul? It's the beginning of round 3, and it's that creature's turn. They haven't done anything good this entire fight, and I'm really irritated about the whole thing.
I tripped a lot.
So that's my situation. They're going to try to trip Istin. They see that Istin is wearing heavy armor, and they're like, let's trip this dude.
Yeah.
And here it comes. It's a trip attempt. It's an 18 on the trip.
I don't think that's going to do it. Istin's reflex DC is 23.
Okay, so then they set up with a double slice. A 17 on the flat check and an 18 on the attack roll.
Yeah, 18 ain't going to do it.
And here comes the third attack. It's a 2 on the flat check, and they slash at the wall.
Istin's just like easing out of the way and just being like, I'm starting to feel sorry for this guy, you know? It's just like, man.
It is Trill's turn. Trill hears that the action has maybe died down a little bit in this room. It's like when you're listening for popcorn in the microwave and you hear the kernels exploding less and less frequently. That's about what Trill can tell is happening in this room to the south. What would Trill like to do?
Trill can't, since Trill doesn't have line of sight, Trill can't cast anything at the one remaining Caligny, right?
Yes.
So Trill would have to move. They have an explosion range of 20. Trill's going to move. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Maybe that's a little bit... she's not quite blocked, but I guess that'll be the best she can do. She avoided 2 other explosions, so I guess that's good enough. And Trill's going to just very simply go ahead and electric arc this guy.
Great.
Classic, right?
Also, like, even if his explosion knocks you out, there's no one else left, so we're going to be able to help you out.
So that's a basic reflex save for the Caligny.
They try to dodge out of the way. A very bad roll, a 17.
That was very nearly a critical failure. So it's just a regular failure. And that is 11 points of damage.
Okay, so they take 11 points of damage. As Trill dashes into the room and fires electricity, it is now Mag's turn.
The only combatant left standing is already next to Mag. And when you know what they say, everybody, when you're next to Mag,
You get put in the bag.
oh, it's boom time. It's 20 on the die.
You're going home in a bag.
There it is.
Nice.
You're going home in a bag.
Nice. All right, I'm going to draw a card from our crit deck. Is
Actually-
it the... What's up?
I don't want it to be the ace this time because we don't need
Is it the ace?
We don't need it.
Is it the ace of spades this time? No.
No, it's the 9 of
It's the
spades.
9 of spades. So that means you do double damage, which I'm going to guess is enough. So go ahead and roll that.
That's another 50 damage. 50 damage.
As Mag slams in, having found a weak point on this creature, they throw their head back and they say, "Come to us, Earthagal!" And they drop a 20-foot emanation and explode, throwing out a total of 16 points of fire damage. Let's get one last reflex save from everybody. Please. I don't have to roll any of them because I don't have any more good dudes. Bet you're feeling jealous now. Now you're thinking maybe you made a mistake. Killing all my dudes. Right?
No, I think we're good.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
we made a mistake.
AO cast Soothe on all of them to bring them back.
Oh.
All right. How did Istin do on this save?
22. So I'm guessing that's a success and half damage.
Yep. How did AO do?
27, so I'm going to keep taking 0 dam.
Oh my God. How did Mag do?
It's a 27 for Mag.
Well,
as
guess what? You take half damage. You're not AO.
Nope.
How did Trill do?
Trill's reflexes are back, baby! 32.
32. Trill takes no damage as this ritual chamber suddenly falls quiet.
Sorry, it doesn't because AO has
more
run into the mummies who are now just cheering and she's standing among them.
They start doing a robot. They're like popping and locking.
Does one of them
Incredibly
do the
difficult
worm?
terrain.
It
does
sounds
they all
like
do
they're
the worm.
mainly popping though if they're mummies.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of locking
Yeah.
happening among
No.
these dancers. That's true.
Lars,
Yes.
amidst all of the combat and explosions of light, would any of that have? Do we know who Erthigel is? And would all of those references have potentially jogged any further recollections
Yeah,
from any of us? I mean, we have some physical exploration to do, but I'm also wondering about recalling knowledge on that name as a way of potentially understanding some of the apparatus that's in the room as well.
Yeah. Trill did a recall knowledge on Erthigel and got the sense that it's some sort of holy figure, divine figure that they wish that they could be reunited with. The ritual seems like it's meant to kind of summon them.
Okay, all right. Summoning ritual. I got the sense that they were pining to rejoin a deity from the dialogue alone.
Well, I don't know if you know this, David, but this is a classic GM trick. Once I got a successful recall knowledge, these guys stopped beating around the bush and started getting a lot more explicit with what they were talking about.
Okay, all right. Checks out.
But yeah, I think there's very little chance that any of you would have any shot at knowing what this Erthigel thing is. It's not something you've ever heard of.
Okay. Well, then Mag's first stop would be the smoking fire pit where the eggs are being treated, to take a look at it and curious about how it works.
Yeah.
And what its nature is.
You take a look at this. There's nothing fancy about it. It's weird how unfancy it is. It's just they set up a little grill on top of some coals and they started slow cooking these eggs. You notice that the pattern on the eggs, which, are sort of ashen and have, the tendrils of coal, of like spark sort of crawling across them slowly as they're burned in these coals. But the eggs have this whirl going around them, and it seems as though they've also painted this room to mimic the whirl of those eggs. You can't really get much of a sense of why anyone would think that this would accomplish anything, but also you're not a Caligny, so it just seems weird.
I think Isthan's poking at one of the eggs with his staff, just like, it just seems like it's an egg,
Trill's just leaning against the column at this point, kind of sitting down, poking at her wounds, all the like burn and scorch marks on her skin, kind of looking over, wondering, loudly saying like, "So are they just like eggs? Can we eat them?"
Don't see why not.
I like boiled eggs. Never had baked eggs before.
If anyone's hungry, I always carry healthy snacks. There's
Hard-boiled eggs are a
As
great
Mag is-
protein snack.
As Mag is going on, Ao comes over with a handful of Caligny teeth and just stabs her kukri into one of the eggs. Let's see what it's like.
The Trool egg breaks apart and a sort of acrid, poison-seeming yolk just kind of dribbles onto the coals. And you hear like a
Right? That smells terrible.
Another thing that Mag notices as she's investigating this apparatus, the apparatus itself is dead simple, right? Like there's nothing fancy here.
It's like a camp.
But there's a little
grill.
container. What's that?
Sounds like a camp out grill, the way you describe
It's
it.
a camp out grill. Yeah, it's like a homemade camp out grill. But there's a container next to it that looks like it might hold eggs that would be received on the grill. That container's empty.
It holds eggs that might be received on the grill?
Yes. Like
an offering.
Like once you take them off, you would put them here.
Yeah, like Mag gets the sense that these are their last eggs.
I see.
Like some sacrificial offering.
Yeah, and they're out.
Maybe there are not enough eggs on the grill?
Are the eggs getting heated to
hatch or to eat?
It didn't seem like they were looking to hatch jewels, although, to be honest, I'm not an expert on their behavior. They seemed primarily concerned with exploding, so I'm not sure.
Getting back to Earth
I
with
have a
all,
read
whoever
on
that is.
Right, yeah.
And you do notice that these eggs are charring apart. They're not being incubated. They're being smoked. They're here for the purpose of generating this hazy smoke that fills this room.
Oh, maybe it's like a toxin, like certain herbal plants that one can potentially put in a pipe or other apparatus thereof and create psychotropic effects.
Trill covers her face with her with the little mini cape that she has that hanging over her shoulders.
Can Ao test the smoke in any way? I don't using like medical knowledge or.
Sure, give me a medicine roll.
$27.
And what are you trying to determine about the smoke? Like you get a pretty
sort
good
of
sense.
what is its likely effect on a body? Like, is this a psychedelic? Is it a medicine?
Right.
Is it?
You detect no such effect. This is just a thing these people are doing.
Just smoky eggs.
Like incense.
Yeah, like incense.
Mm.
But, weird.
I mean,
Sure is.
incense is kind of weird when you think
It's
about
true.
it.
Most things are.
Most things, if you think about them, are weird. I do not recommend it.
That's
Do not
so
think
true.
about things.
I
Question
keep
nothing.
doing
Stop
it.
thinking.
Stop it.
I
David, you should
can't.
know better than.
I would love to.
Trill would love to get some healing before we go do
Yes.
anything else. Just by the by.
Yeah, let's do some medicine checks.
Yeah, this thing could definitely use some healing as well.
Maybe as
I
we're
actually don't need any, so I'm happy to.
maybe as Ao's fixing us up, we can maybe keep looking around because I see I noticed there's a bunch of doors in this room. So if we're thinking about next steps, perhaps we just think about coming off of this room directly.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Star Watch would have come through here. Like if these guys would have been here if the Star Watch had come through here.
Although I guess maybe that could explain the death of
Colton.
our Star Watch friend outside, Colton.
Yeah, but he seemed to be torn in half by one of the not lobster guys.
Right. So it seems like he would not have come this way.
It's the first place we've been where there haven't been
Yeah.
signs of the guard. Like, that pond area, it seemed clear that the Star Watch had been there. Yeah, sorry. Most of my medicine checks Iston took a bunch of them, but someone else could take them. So I think 5.
I probably need 2.
I can do
these.
2 at a time, so.
Iston.
Yeah, so looking at these rolls, it looks like that's probably 5 medicine checks. We'll get everybody where they need to get to.
Yeah.
So I think that after about 50 minutes in this strange room, everybody is feeling ready to push on.
The mummies have grown tired. Ao keeps sustaining them, and they're all laying down snoozing on the floor.
Here's what I'm imagining now, this phantom crowd. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone to a TV taping, but it usually starts pretty high energy and then gets kind of boring and stupid by the end. This is kind of what I'm imagining.
Keep
these
applauding
mummies have
because the
experienced.
applause sign is on.
Yeah,
And
they
as,
had
as
to.
the last heal points are administered to Mag, Ao sort of like bored of the mummies herself, waves them off, and they evaporate.
They return to whatever imaginary place they came from, being like, the
That's
AO show is not. It's not good. It's weird.
It was
It's not
kind
as
of
good
cool
as it
to
looks
see
on
how they
TV.
made it, like
Right.
where all the cameras were and stuff.
They just shot us clapping for like 40 minutes. So let me describe this situation here. This room has a few different possible exits from it. There's a door leading off to the north, in the northeast corner of the room. There's a door to the southeast, the southwest. Another door. It looks like you're maybe in some sort of a hub room. Is anybody searching for anything around here as you're hanging out?
Yeah, but treasures and traps, right? Like usual.
Yeah.
Sure.
Once Trill's healed up from AO, yeah.
And I guess Mag would be looking for anything that could indicate whether or not the Star Watch came through, which is like a little more investigative or contextual.
You see no indication that the Star Watch came through here. It doesn't really track that these people attacked you so violently, and you see no indication of a previous fight. It doesn't seem like the Star Watch came through in this direction. Isthin, though, spots, as you're searching around, he spots something that looks like a secret door here on the western side of the room.
Secret door.
Oh, I love the secret door.
door.
Secret. Oh, I
The
missed
demon I
challenge.
loved secret doors.
Yeah, there's a doorknob built into the wall that's hidden underneath some of this whirly paint. So, in addition to the doors that I have previously described, there's also a secret door leading westerly. So, what do you guys want to do?
I like the idea of secret door.
Mag would potentially be inclined to leave this room, go back into the hallway, and go back through the other door that we passed on the way here, on the basis that we're actually after the Star Watch, and we're pretty sure the Star Watch didn't come through here. The Star Watch probably didn't come through any of the doors that lead off this chamber.
That's a fair pitch.
If it's up to Mag is going to go back into the hallway and head over to the left down the hall.
So, you walk up back to that hallway, and you head towards the door that was leading to the west.
Trill longingly looks back at the secret door.
Someday.
I'll come back for you, my pretty.
We'll always have chewel eggs.
Mag scouts while she gets ready to open the door.
Okay. You don't hear anything on the other side of the wall. Or the other side of the door, sorry.
All right, well, let's crack it open.
Okay, so you push through this door, and you're standing in a room that's lined with alcoves. There are 6 alcoves lining the walls. There are 3 to the north and 3 to the south. The 4 that are closest to you as you walk into the room each contain a large stone planter filled with muddy water that reeks like a dismal swamp. There are 2 scorch marks on the ground near the eastern door over here, surrounding piles of dark rags. There's a pommel of a blade peeking out from underneath one of the rag piles.
Can Isthin start poking around and searching through the rag piles?
Yeah. These rag piles look similar to Isthin to the rags left behind by the Calignes as they immolated and scorched apart.
Oh, well, that tracks.
So one of them had a fight in here. This is where it fell, and it scorched the area around it with its parting shot.
And there are 2 scorch marks here, so maybe a pair rather than just one.
What's the blade?
It's one of the short swords that you saw the Calignes wielding. Nothing terribly special.
You said there were 6 alcoves, 4 of them have planters. What's in the other 2?
So Mag steps towards the other 2 planters or the other 2 alcoves and sees that they are covered with cobwebs, abandoned, empty.
Trill goes to investigate one of the planters.
Sure.
Yeah. What's growing?
You take a look at the planters. The first thing that jumps out at you is just how horrible they smell. This is like a little bit of swamp that is just sort of hanging out in a little basin. It's strange.
I've literally never heard a better time for someone to use swamp floor.
Right?
Ooh. I wonder, could these be like vats? Because it smells like a bog, right? Where they make the bog mummies, do you think? Maybe?
Oh.
I don't know. Just an idea.
Or keep the eggs until they steam them?
Right.
I like that bug mummy idea, though. That makes sense.
I don't know
Imagine
if, it's
if you
right,
could-
though. This is weird.
Conjure a whole army of supporters out of a Of a little vat. Neo's eyes kind of light up.
Sometimes I worry about you, Eo.
She smiles at him.
Istin's eyebrow slowly drops back into line with its other one.
And she resumes looking for any other like treasures or scouting around for anything.
I got a swamp lore check from Mag. You're trying to figure out like how is this related to swamps, right?
I guess I should give you a more specific question. Yes. Are there signs of swamp or other life dwelling, or to Istin's theory, being generated in these containers? Are they just gross standing water, or is there anything swamp life-y about them?
It's gross standing water. You do notice that there's like a decorative light hanging above each of these swamp alcoves, planters. And something that you notice as you move through the room is that as you're walking through the room and using your knowledge of swamps to investigate them, it sort of feels as though the lights are following you as though they are eyes, like they're tracking your motion through the room.
Don't like that.
No.
Ao notices the same thing. And a few moments after you both realize that they are tracking you around the room, you hear a sound. As it is revealed suddenly, these lights detach from the wall of these alcoves and float out towards you, because these are no normal lights. These are wisps, and they have been watching you.
That's creepy.
And we will pick up from there next time.
Troll screams.
I love this
Mac
new
makes
floor.
friends with wisps.
So creepy.
Well, shit.
Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way, and we are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in the Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. On our website, tabletopgold.com, you can learn more about us and our shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.